Hey guys, so I decided to do my eyeshadow palette collection video. So just to preface this, I am in no ways bragging. In fact, I would never brag about how severe my addiction to eyeshadow is. My addiction to eyeshadow is pretty enormous. And you shall see. But I just thought that this would be a good idea, especially around the palette time of year. Yes, it's the holiday time of year, but around the holidays, a lot of the companies come out with palettes. So, you see so many out there, and I kind of want to go through my collection for myself so that I don't buy something I already have, and maybe it will help you as well. So here we go. I'm not really going in order of like how long I've had them. I'm going to stick to groupings of brands, or at least try to. I'm going to start out with lower end palettes. Okay, this alone is my e.l.f. palette collection, so we'll go through very quickly. So I have one of the Prism eyeshadow collections. This was the one that was in Sunset, and I think I had another one at some point and I gave it away. I purchased this specifically for when I wanted some little pops of like colorful brightness to my eyeshadow look. So, and I really like it. Here's one that I have really not used. It is the Baked Eyeshadow Palette. Another reason why I'm pulling out a lot of these palettes is to bring some palettes out. And these are some really nice winter colors, so I think I'm going to pull this out. This was the Baked Eyeshadow Palette in California is the color. I think they had like Texas too. This is one of my favorites, so much so that I have two of them. I need to give away one of these to someone I know, but this is the e.l.f. and I believe that they stopped making these, but these were amazing. These were the Eyes Lips Face. I think they were called the Ultimate Eyeshadow Collection in Neutral. So there are so many dupes in here for some of the Naked 1, 2, and 3 and the Naked Basics. It's unbelievable. So there's a lot of really great eyeshadows in here. I'm going to give one of these to my niece, Anna. I love those so much that I got the Everyday Basics, and it never really performed the way that I wanted it to. I've never really fully given it a chance, though, so I think I might pull this one out as well and really give it a go, and then if it doesn't really work out for me, if it doesn't pan out for me, give it away to my niece. This was another Eyes Lips Face palette that I really thought I would get a lot of use out of. At one point, I did toy around with the idea of doing makeup for people, but it was something that just didn't work out for me. So this thing has an enormous amount of bronzes and blushes. But then it has a second layer of all eyeshadows. So as you can see, I have a lot of the same colors in here in a bigger format that I do in that Everyday Basics palette. This palette is nice if you want to have a whole bunch of different bronzers and blushes for people at like a reasonable price. I'm not reviewing or showing you any more of my blush palettes. I'm just showing you this one because it happens to have eyeshadow in it as well. So those are all of my e.l.f. Let's move on to another lower end brand. The next lower end brand that I'm going to go with is Coastal Scents. And I think that I did have like one of those mega palettes from Coastal Scents at one point, but at this point I only have the 3 revealed palettes. The first one I got was the Revealed 2. This palette is amazing. I want to show you the Revealed 2. It is my favorite of the 3. It has got the most gorgeous colors. Rose golds and really beautiful like winter colors. I love this palette. This palette, the 1 is more like the Urban Decay 1 and 2. It's a really pretty palette. And then 3 is sort of like a combination of both of them, if that makes sense. They're really, really, really nice palettes. I would definitely, I mean, I want to say that I picked them up for like $10 a piece because I miss Bargain Betty. But I think that normally they're like 24 or something. So yeah, the Reveal palettes are awesome. Okay, two other lower end palettes I have are the Sleek palettes. I have the I Divine All Natural palette and the I Divine Ultra Mattes V2 Darks. So I've never used these. I still have them in the boxes. So I'm going to keep them out of their boxes and go ahead and use them. I want to show you how gorgeous this one is. Look at these mattes. Like, that's amazing. So I think that I might end up doing some looks with these Sleek palettes. So let's move on to some of my other lower end stuff. I'm going to kind of lump these together. I have the two L'Oreal La Palette Nude 1 and 2. You want to know the absolute truth? I've never played around with these. You know, I'm a collector, but I need to play with my collection. So, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to pull this out. A very similar palette to those is the Makeup Revolution Neutrals palette. This is the Redemption eyeshadow palette in the Essential Mattes. It's really, really pretty, but it's very similar to the La Palette Nudes that I just pulled out, so I definitely need to give those a shout out. Some other of my lower end palettes are a lot of Wet n Wild, and I'll show you those. Okay, believe it or not, I really don't have that many Wet n Wild palettes, because I buy them, and if I don't, like, love them, I give them away pretty quickly. I love this Wet n Wild Fergie Center Stage collection in Desert Festival. This is so me. Also, another really loved palette is the Comfort Zone by Wet n Wild. So pretty. I love the California Roll, but really only like for pops of color and in the summer. And, you know, everyone always talks about Wet n Wild palettes. NYC palettes are really, really good too. I've had a few. This is the only one that I've really stuck onto. But what's cool is that this one has like a base and it like gives you, it has all these colors. This is individualized New York color, but it tells you like which one goes on your contour, which one goes all over the lid. It's called, these were called the Smoky Greens. These were created for green eyes. I don't have green eyes, but it works for me. One of my other favorite lower end, I mean, I'm going to say this is lower end. I wouldn't know, it's not drugstore. It's available at Target. It's the Sonia Kashuk Ion Neutrals Matte Palette. This palette, I honestly think that this palette is almost a dead-on dupe for the really expensive Vice Art Neutrals palette. Do I have the Vice Art palette? No, but I've seen it duped over and over again. And honestly, I've had it in my cart at Sephora several times, and I keep on saying to myself, but you have the Sonia Kashuk palette. Do you really need that? And I don't think I do, because I think that this palette is amazing. I have traveled with this palette a lot. Sadly, recently, this happened. It fell apart. But I think actually that I can fix it. I just have to take the time to sit down and actually fix it. Some of the other lower end palettes I have, lower end stuff is all kind of like random, but here's a favorite. Do you guys remember this? This is the Revenge. It was from the TV show Revenge. And this was the NYX palette, NYX palette. And this palette is really pretty. You open it up and it's a box and it has like looks for the two main characters in the show. And then this was the actual palette. So it has all these blushes, all these really nice eyeshadows, which, you know what? I think I might end up depotting this because I have a lot of room, and these shadows were really nice, but I have a lot of room in my Z palette. I'm probably going to toss all of these lip glosses, but I'll probably depot these blushes and these eyeshadows. And I've been wanting to like use this box to store other things in because I think it's a cute box. So some of my other random lower end stuff is I have the ColourPop. This was by Coffee Break with Danny, who I love. This was the Metamorphosis Be the Change. This was one of the main reasons why I initially made one of my first orders to ColourPop, and I have fallen in love with their lipsticks since. I have fallen into like with one or two of their eyeshadows. This one, and I don't know if it's just because I just didn't play with it enough, but it just never pulled me in. I felt like I used a ton of product and I wasn't getting anything on my eyes. I don't know. I mean, I know these aren't really like shadows. They're more like pressed minerals, but maybe someday I'll give it a better try. Some other little palettes that I have are these Neutrogena matte palettes. They're just like, it feels like there's not much color to them. I think I might be giving these away. This was something that I think someone gave me. It is an Ulta Complete Eye little quad palette in New Wave, but it's got some really pretty green colors in there. I was thinking about doing a Halloween costume or just a makeup Halloween tutorial, sort of like a fish look, and these colors would be great for it. Here's another palette that someone gave to me. One of my really good friends, Skylar, he gave this to me. It's from a brand called Me Makeover Essentials. I think someone was like selling it where he worked. And so it has these eyeshadows in it that are really pretty. But here's one of the stars of this little palette that I was really shocked by. The eyebrow product in here, when mixed together, is amazing. At taming my particular eyebrows. I love it. And these eyeshadows are really pretty. I should totally consider depotting this as well because I'm not using it in this little compact. I don't know. I probably won't end up depotting it. So that's all for my lower end. We'll move on to my higher end stuff.